we're in the final week here. How you like maybe what you've seen over the last week and where you're headed?
I thought um, today was a really good practice. We obviously have things that we need to work on that we're emphasizing at practice. Um, I like where we're at both sides of the ball. I was proud today with how we kicked the ball. A couple of 2 minute situations where I believe we made somewhere around a 46 and a 56, 55, something by Shipley. So that was really positive to see. We are a physical team. They are practicing physical. I think next Saturday will be the fifth time that we tackled to the ground this spring, which is by far more than we have done in the past. And we're finding out a little bit more because of it about our team. And I like the competitiveness between the offensive and the defensive line. I think we're finding linebackers. Um, they can run. And I think we figure out who our running backs, who we feel good about at running back. I think maybe the biggest question mark right now is where we're at wide receiver wise, because we've had several injuries. We've had some hamstring with Andrew. He was back today. We've had a hamstring with Jaden. Ty Broden has a family situation that he's handling right now. Um, so uh, that position right there is probably still, we know who we have. We just haven't seen them, I guess, in the last couple of days. So, um, but some younger guys are moving up the depth charts, giving them opportunities. Well, I thought Desmond James played a little bit better today too. So I like where we're at. I was very happy that we kicked the ball better than we have, because we haven't been kicking it real well field goal wise.
Yeah, a little feistiness. We hadn't seen, little action after the play action.
Yeah.
Is that how do you take that?
Well, obviously, you don't want anything to ever escalate to that point. We had a good talk with the team afterwards on it about what's acceptable, what's not. But it was just the two guys got tangled up on the sideline, and I believe one side thought it was more than that, and escalated into something that shouldn't have. But I think our team is a very together team. I think it was obviously at the end of practice, and we had practiced really hard, and things escalated there, but we stopped it fairly fast.
I think we sorry, I forgot my well, coach, the offensive line seemed like last spring and fall was giving up a lot of penetration, I guess, and that didn't seem to be happening as much. Is that what you're seeing?
Yeah, they're seeing a lot of things from the defense as well, and I think we're pretty good on the D line. It's trying to get to the quarterback and things like that. So, yeah, I think it starts. Any protection starts with your tackles, and you have to be good at those positions. I feel good about our tackles situation, and I think Eric's done a really good job with their eyes and not cutting somebody loose. Eyes are so valuable pre-snap, and if something surprises you, you can never get your body normally in front of it. You're usually playing half of the man if you're in a surprise. I think his technique and the eyes that he's teaching right now are really helping us, and we're covering those guys up a lot better, and they're playing pretty good as a unit in there. And I'll be honest with you, we've done more crossover drills this spring with tight ends and running backs against linebackers. I think our linebackers are getting better rushing the quarterback, and I think our running backs are doing a nice job of picking up blitzes as well, along with the tight ends when we're in a 7-man protection.
Yeah, I remember my question now. On the offensive line, the five starters we've seen, pretty consistent there. Maybe some snap issues. Any concerns at all?
Wiggins played a little bit today, and I think the only concern there is that we had a few snap issues today with Nichols, and if you notice, they were all when he was in with the two group, and so maybe there's some reason to move guys in and out, to make sure that they're comfortable with each other. But obviously that showed that he's working with a different quarterback, and so the cadence would be slightly different. We want them to all be the same, but maybe it was slightly different, maybe not quite as loud and things like that. And so obviously the timing of the snap is important, and with the second and third team quarterback whom he worked with today, I think the timing was off, which would make your snap off too. So hadn't really been a problem since the very beginning of practice when he's working with Green. Just was a problem today. So obviously there's a concern anytime anything's not going the way it should. But I think we can fix that real easy. Maybe get him a few more reps with those other guys, let him get comfortable with their cadence.
And Ian Jeff Farrar, I don't know if he practiced Saturday or today. Is everything okay with him?
He's fine. He pulled his hamstring, got split and pulled his ham. I anticipate that he'll be full speed by Thursday and he'll be able to play in the spring game.
Talon started off pretty strong. Maybe last week wasn't as accurate and looked like he was pretty accurate today. What are your thoughts on his past week, I guess?
Well, I think anytime you go out in the portal, and I'm not for sure, Trey, it's not any position. You want him to be so good and so, and completion rate and all those things, you want him to be 100%. It's just impossible for him to do that. I think it's more the accuracy of the crossing routes and things like that we're working on. But as long as he has confidence, he has the tools to do that. And I think today, with the ability to step up and have a little bit more time, and obviously I think it makes a difference too when you are working with the receivers, which he hasn't been. Last week he didn't do at all. And so I think receiver changing out, which may happen in a game too. But the receivers, with losing those three guys last week, I think that may have had something to do with last week, because you get familiar with who you're playing with. But I thought he had a much better day today, and we got Bobby coaching him. I think with his talent and Bobby's knowledge, I think he'll be just fine.
Maybe getting ahead of you a little bit, but I mean, next week portal opens, contact period opens. It's a lot of chaos. You guys ready to jump into that Are you going to take a break?
We're ready for it. I don't want to. I'm a totally different person when the portal's open. It's just it's hard on the mind, 15 days. I believe it's been longer than that in the past. And so I've told the team, if we just keep this team, that we're going to have a really good team, and we just don't lose anybody off of this team. And obviously we have conversations with our kids and then with the coaches trying to figure out all that stuff. But hopefully we don't have anybody go in the portal, and I don't care if they're fourth team, third team, they're part of the team. They fit on the team. And but if we do, obviously we can go out and replace, but that's not what we're looking forward to. We don't want to do that.
Talon, when Bobby came in and spoke with us last week, he kind of mentioned how you don't really see Talon's ceiling because he's not getting tackled and stuff. I mean, how do you go about evaluating that? Your quarterback, what he can do in the run when the pads are live without kind of, obviously you want to keep him safe and not have him getting hit, but what's the evaluation process there? And will you maybe put him in the line of fire at all this offseason?
We won't. But I'll say this, that the only way that we can have some type of, we obviously see that he's fast and things, but you can go back and look at his film from last year when he took off what did he do? And there was some pretty amazing things when he was able to run. I can still remember we were playing Rice out here, and I don't know that we really knew what KJ Jefferson was running the football, and then Rouse caught an option play, and that got called back for a holding. I think we gained about 50, and we got about 10 out of it, out at the wideout. But we really found out more about him when the game started. Now, obviously in practice, we can see him do some things, and we've got plays where he is the primary runner, depending on what the tackle does, what the end does. We just haven't used those as much because we've been working more on his play action game and on his drop back game, because we are assuming from tape that we watch that he is a dynamic runner. But we can't afford to get him hit. And probably that major evaluation will be when we play Arkansas Pine Bluff.
And Anton got a lot of reps with the ones, obviously with Landon being gone this Saturday. Just what you see from him, and it seems like he's starting to settle in. And how have you seen him grow?
A lot of really good. He played well Saturday, and he needed those reps up there against Junior, and I thought he played really well. Obviously, Landon got married, and beautiful girl Grace, she worked for us for a year, and happy for him and her. What a beautiful couple. But it gave Anton an opportunity to play there. And I'll tell you what he is. He plays extremely hard, but he's very, very strong and has good leverage. And obviously he set the record over there at, I believe, Albany for a reason. And we're really glad he's here, but he's playing the run and pass. The guy up front is playing exceptional as Cam Ball. I mean, you guys have been at practice, see him all over the place.
You mentioned there were points of emphasis that y'all are working on at practice today. Is that stuff you maybe saw on film from the scrimmage? Kind of what were those points of emphasis?
Well, we have done more situational football than we have ever. Now we've done a lot, but this is more situational. We need to become a play action team. We need to become a team that's able to pick up the blitz. We need our running backs to become better blockers, because we weren't last year at all. And so those are the things that we're emphasizing. Tackling, obviously, we feel like we need to get better there. I'm not as much into the defensive. I have to wait until I watch tape to see Indy. But they're working on tackling as well over there, because I'm Eric's GA, and so I'm not able to get around to all the Indy except for after practice when I watch it. But if we're seeing a problem, we're addressing it as quick as we possibly can the next day, and that's even changing formats sometimes of practice, so we can just. If it's a problem, we need to fix it as soon as possible. So that's what we're doing. We've had coming out, we've had going in, we've had high red, low red, several different times, because we either one side of the ball or the other didn't perform well.
I think it was one of the earlier team periods today, but I think I saw Jaden Allen out there with the ones at corner. Just what have you liked from him this spring? Is there any other of those new freshmen that you've really stood out
There's
to
a
you?
lot of them that I like that are going to be good players for us. Jaden is such a quick twitch guy, that very, very smart. He's a cover corner. I mean, that's what he is, and body positioning is extremely accurate. He understands what's going on for a young guy. That's hard. I think if you look at the freshmen who have really elevated, Braylon Russell would be one of those guys that there's no doubt in my mind that he will help us this fall. And CJ Brown is another guy that I believe is going to help us this fall. And then after that, I'm probably missing a guy or two, but Selman Bridges is another guy that's possibly doing that. Tavis Metcalf is doing a good job. So, but those guys are the ones that stand out in my mind. Our two young defensive ends are going to be good players. We have good depth where they're at, but I think they're going to be good players eventually.
Coach, did I understand Saturday's going to be a game and not a scrimmage? Is that right?
It'll be a game, yeah.
Do you know what the format's going to be
I
on
do.
that?
Yeah, we'll have a red and a white team, and the first half will be just a football game, and we'll have the ones with the red team, and the white team will be the twos. Then at half, what we'll do is we'll probably take the ones and they'll be done. And then it'll be two against the rest of them, which then they will become the red team. We'll score the game and all that. And we'll have a nice big breakfast for the winners and cereal for the losers and all that kind of stuff. But the bottom line is if it goes right, the red team will be up at half, and then it'll give the white team should be the better of the two teams, and we'll see what happens, but then it'll give the white team a chance to catch up. So that's what we're going to do. It's just going to be a game.
But has there been any surprises this spring? I mean, guys that really a lot better than you thought they would be.
I think Andrew Armstrong, and I know he was a good player for us, but I think he's one, and Ty Broden. Those two guys have become much better players, I think, this spring. And then, I don't want to talk too much about the portal guys, but some of them are a little bit better than even we thought they would be. Their fit has been really good for us. Xavier Story is a good linebacker. He's a good player. But I think, to be honest with you, in just answering in a nutshell, it would be those three freshman linebackers that have come along and have played better than maybe what I thought they would at this point in time.
You mentioned Tevis earlier. Has TJ Metcalf made some progress?
He has too. He certainly has. He's a guy that in the scrimmage on Saturday will start off with the twos, and he may get opportunities to have some reps with the one as well.
You follow basketball coaching searches at all?
Well, I live in Arkansas, so it'd kind of be hard not to. But I believe in Hunter Yurchek. He'll find the best guy. I guess according to y'all and everybody, we found a guy. So I don't know him well, but if he's a coach, we probably hit pretty good home run, maybe grand slam.
What do you remember about when you were being talked to and pursued by Hunter Yurchek, just his approach and his method during coaching searches?
Well, it was very comfortable conversations, and you could, there wasn't a whole lot of questions that, Trey, I had, it wasn't like, who do we play next year? No, I didn't care, mine was different than what I'm assuming Coach Calipari's is, but I remember him being very easy to talk to, very forward and direct. I talked to him and interviewed with him, and then I didn't talk to him the day I got hired, really talked to John Fagg, until he came to the house. And then when they came to the house, and he did all the talking, and Steve Cox was there, as well. But I just remember he was easy to talk to, but very, very direct in what he was his expectations. And the one question that he asked me was, can you handle being the head football coach at Arkansas publicly? Can you be the guy? Because obviously he understood the passion of the fan base, and that can work obviously for you and against you at times, as I've experienced both of those. And of course the answer was, hell yeah, I can, but that's what I remember. And then he, to be honest with you, he hasn't changed at all since we've been here. It's been direct. What we need, what can I do to help you? What you need to do to help me and the university and the state. And it's been, I'm a grown man. I'm not dumb. I understand what needs to be done, but Hunter doesn't leave that for question. He's going to tell you what needs to be done, what needs to happen, and what you're doing well, what you need to improve on, things like that. So very direct, very honest, and he stays to his word. And I think that's what the new basketball coach can expect out of him as well. I've enjoyed. He's my boss, and I'm just being. You asked a question. I've enjoyed every bit of it with him because he's been honest and directly to the point.
You talked earlier about how you go and watch Indy after practice. What is that process like for you, and what are you looking for when you're watching that film?
I'm just looking for, are we doing something so everybody go, Man, we're changing up this drill. I want to know the reasons why we're doing it. I want to know, do we have a start and a finish to every drill? I want to know, are we holding our kids accountable for the drill? And if we're not, then, and what'll happen is I'll take a couple of clips, I'll tag them, and then I meet with the offense for an hour and the defense for an hour after, like today, this afternoon, after we watch the practice, and I'll have, I don't know, anywhere from 15 to 20 tag plays on both sides of the ball, and then whatever it is in Indy that I want to talk about. And I just want to make sure that the beginning of practice has some speed to it. And then we kind of work down towards teaching in maybe period 3. But I want to make sure that what we're doing has a purpose and a meaning for the kids, and that it makes us better. And let's say this, nobody is a good player, nobody, without good technique. So Indy is all about technique and speed. And nobody can be a great player without great technique. Nobody, no position. And so that's really the primary thing of what we want to do. And we want to strain them there early during Indy.
You're
Good
running.
question, by the way.
I agree. You're running a little light at cornerback right now. Is there any chance that Robinson and Singletary could be back for Saturday, or what's
No and yes. No on Cuddy. No on Marquise. Non-surgical, but no on him. Shaheem, possibility. You know, what I'd like to do is get him out Thursday, maybe in 7-on-7 or something like that. And not just throw him in with him being out, you know, or maybe do a little bit more with him on Friday, which Friday's going to be more like an every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, except we'll do some special teams things. It won't be much of a I think we're going to close it to you guys because it'd be a waste of your time, to be perfectly honest with you. Well, it would. We're not doing a whole lot that would be valuable to you. I'm hoping Jaheim no for Marquise.
John McDade at practice today? Y'all might talk a little this afternoon. What are those sessions like with him?
Good. I mean, he goes to every one of us, you know, and spends a half a day or whatever. And we have a list of questions that we want to ask him. And it's not about last year and what happened on this or what happened. It's basically about the new rules, because what happens a lot of times, Tom, is they talk about these rules and then they pass. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh my Lord, we didn't do it. And, you know, like one of them was a different, you know, you couldn't go downfield on punt. That would, you know, early is like the NFL rule. Well, then we went through all that and then it didn't happen. But we were nervous about it because they were talking about it. And then thing with the move calls on defense and on, you know, where you can't have synchronized moving, which we didn't do it because we thought they were going to take it out. And then now, as we understand it, that it's not out, you know. And I think all the rules right now that we're talking about unbalanced, you know, because you don't really know if you're unbalanced. Is he on? Is he off? Because, you know, it's say paper thin. And so you don't know who's eligible. And what happened before, they were putting a guy in eligible, but he was running a 3-yard crossing route, which means he's not past the line of availability that you can be, but he was running a crossing route. Well, the guys didn't know if he was eligible or not. And so really the rules that John's talking to us are about integrity, about this is not what the game's supposed to be like. And he would like to get some of those out. I just don't know how many of those he'll get out when the season starts. Probably at this point, we'll probably find out none of them will get thrown out.
Petrino said he feels like there's a pretty good battle at QB2. Just where do those guys kind of stack up, and how have you seen them improve?
Did y'all ask Bobby that last week? Because what did he say? I mean, the thing with we're still trying to find that out. That's a good question. Some days we're thinking we got it figured out, and then the next day, oh man, he did better. I think there's a legitimate battle there of who 2 is. and that's not anything but the truth. And sometimes Malachi does really great things. Sometimes Chris does, and sometimes KJ Jackson. I mean, I think he's in that loop as well. So I don't. I think it's going to be more through the summer to find exactly who that guy is.
And then we've seen Jalen Braxton make a lot of plays this spring. Just what do you like about him, and where have you seen him kind of grow since
Good
last year?
player, really good player, really good leader for a young man. But that comes from his family. I mean, really strong family, very knowledgeable football family, high school program. But he's just a wonderful kid and very, very talented, but wants to do everything right, and it's important to him. The other thing, Tom, was the 2 minute before the half, and we thought it was going to come in, and then we didn't, and all that. So I don't think it's going to come in this year, but we heard it was. So we were going to practice it, and then we thought, well, we're wasting time if we do. So it's another one I want to ask McDade about.
I have a couple of questions about availability of some wide receivers. You kind of touched on it earlier. Jaden Wilson, I don't think has been doing team stuff. Do you think he might be able to go on Saturday?
I hope so, but that one I don't know.
Do you know if Broden might be back, or is that still kind of up in the air?
Well, I haven't talked to him today. When I talked to him, are we meeting before Saturday again or no? We'll somehow let the media know whether it's a family situation and it's fluid with when he needs to leave and when he needs to come back. And I don't know exactly what his plans are because I haven't spoke with him today.
And we saw Davion Dozier get dinged up today. Do you have
He
any
did.
update on him?
I don't. I know it had something to do with his hand. So as soon as we get through here, we'll go find that out. But he didn't come back. So a lot of times, if it's a hand, that's not great news. But we'll figure it out.
I think you briefly mentioned a big breakfast for the winners, cereal for the losers. What does that look like?
Well, number one, I won. I can tell you that. I'm on the winning team. But now Busies will come in and service the works, and he's got to have gravy on it. I mean, who winners deserves gravy, right? And I don't know what the cereal choice is going to be, but it'll be some good cereal. You guys know in the morning, sometimes you put some milk over some cereal. It's pretty good. So some of them guys might want it, but they can't. If they win, they can't go get the cereal. And if they lose, they can't go get the great breakfast. But it'll be the whole spread, the sausage and eggs and waffles and everything. It'll be fun for them.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys.